Do you ever feel like you're your own worst enemy when it comes to finding peace? You have moments of calm, maybe even a full day of feeling good, but they're quickly followed by a familiar wave of anxiety, the need to be in control, or that nagging feeling that you're just not there yet. It's this constant cycle of getting close to happiness only to have it snatched away, often by your own thoughts and reactions. If that sounds familiar, it's it's not you. It's your ego. That part of your mind that's designed to protect you but is using a seriously outdated playbook. In this video, we're going to break down the exact ways your ego is sabotaging your happiness, and more importantly, what you can do to finally dismantle its power and experience a true lasting sense of calm. Now, when we hear the word ego, we usually think of some arrogant, loud part of ourselves. But its sabotage is usually much quieter. It's not an enemy you need to kill, it's more like an overprotective friend who gives terrible advice because it's still operating on fear from a decade ago. It thrives on being the center of attention, and its survival depends on feeling important. This means it often needs negative situations to worry about or some drama to create. The ego's number one job is to keep you safe, but its definition of safety is staying exactly where you are, and that is the enemy of growth and happiness. Our work isn't to destroy the ego, it's to gently take the steering wheel back. We are going to expose three of the most common and destructive traps your ego sets for you, and for each one, I'll give you a powerful, practical antidote you can start using today. The first and most common trap is what I call the lie of "I'll be happy when." You know this one. It's that voice that whispers, "I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll finally relax when I'm in the perfect relationship. My life will be complete when I buy that house or hit that income goal." This is the ego's favorite game. It sets up this grand story where you're the hero on a quest and happiness is a treasure chest at the very end. The problem is, every time you get close, the ego moves the treasure chest. You get the promotion, and for a week you feel amazing. But then the ego starts whispering again. "Okay, but you're not a senior manager yet." They're the ones who are really successful. The ego does this because its entire identity is tied to striving and achieving. It measures your worth through external things, titles, applause, and what you own. It has no idea how to exist in a state of simple contentment, because if you were truly happy with who you are right now, the ego would feel like it's out of a job. This constant habit of putting off joy keeps you in a state of dissatisfaction, always reaching for a horizon that keeps moving away. The more you attach your self-worth to these outcomes, the more you suffer. The antidote to this trap is to focus on purpose, not performance. Instead of asking, "What will this achievement get me?" start asking, "Who is this process allowing me to become?" This shifts your focus from the external reward to your internal growth. The ego wants the shiny object. Your true self wants the experience and the wisdom you gain along the way. When you focus on purpose, you find joy in the effort itself, not just the outcome. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have goals. Goals are great, but you have to untie your inner peace from whether or not you achieve them. You can work hard for that promotion while finding fulfillment in the skills you're building and the people you're helping today. A practical way to do this is to end each day by asking yourself, did I act with integrity today? Did I learn something new? Was I kind? These are metrics of purpose, and they are entirely within your control. Performance can be fickle and depends on others. Purpose is solid, and it's all yours. Grounding yourself in purpose starves the ego of its favorite food, external validation. The second way your ego sabotages you is through the trap of needing to be right. Think about the last time you were in a disagreement, not a friendly debate, but one of those tense arguments where you could feel the heat rising in your chest. Was there a point where being right became more important than the relationship or even your own peace of mind? That's the ego in full-blown defense mode. For the ego, being wrong isn't just about having bad information. It sees being wrong as a threat to its very existence. It thinks, if I am wrong about this, my judgment is flawed. If my judgment is flawed, then I am flawed. I am not safe. This triggers a defensive fight or flight response. The ego digs its heels in, builds walls, and goes to war just to protect its identity. It's why perfectly smart people cling to illogical ideas to the bitter end. It's why we say hurtful things to people we love just to score a point. This need to be right makes you unteachable, isolates you, and fills your life with conflict you don't need. You might win the argument, but you lose connection, and you absolutely lose your inner peace. The ego's victory is almost always a loss for your soul. The powerful antidote here is to embrace a beginner's mindset. This concept, known in Zen Buddhism as Shoshin, is about approaching things with the openness and eagerness of a beginner, even if you're an expert. A beginner isn't afraid of being wrong. A beginner expects to be wrong. That's how we learn. The ego wants to be the master who already has all the answers. The beginner's mindset allows you to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to find out. When you feel that defensive heat rising in a conversation, consciously make a shift. Move out of the need to prove a point and into the desire to understand. You can use simple phrases that completely disarm the ego. Try saying, that's an interesting way to look at it. Help me understand how you see it. Or say, I might be missing something here. Can you walk me through your thinking? Notice the shift. You are no longer opponents in a battle. You are collaborators searching for clarity. This approach dials down intellectual arrogance and turns up intellectual humility. It makes you more adaptable and creative. It allows you to see feedback as useful information, not a personal attack. The goal is no longer to be right, but to get it right together. This practice softens the ego's rigid grip and invites peace back in. The third destructive trap is the prison of comparison. Your ego is basically a measuring machine. Its main job is to figure out where you stand, and it does this by constantly comparing you to other people. Social media has put this habit on steroids, giving us a never-ending curated feed of everyone else's successes, filtered photos, and highlight reels. As you scroll, your ego is silently taking notes. She is more successful than I am. He's in better shape. Their house is bigger. This constant comparison leads to only two outcomes, and both are toxic. You either feel superior, which is fragile and arrogant, or you feel inferior, which leads to envy and resentment. There is no peace to be found in the land of comparison. It's a game that's rigged from the start because you're always comparing your behind the scenes footage to someone else's highlight reel. This habit is one of the ego's most effective ways of isolating you. It creates an illusion of separation, making you feel like you're in competition with the world rather than being a part of it. It's an incredibly lonely and exhausting way to live. The most profound antidote to the prison of comparison is to serve others and shift your focus outward. It is almost impossible to genuinely help someone else and, at the same time, compare yourself to them. The act of service pulls you out of the ego's self-centered story and puts you right into a story of connection. When you shift your focus from "how do I measure up" to "how can I help," the ego's power just dissolves. This doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It can be as simple as listening to a friend who is struggling, helping a colleague with a project without expecting anything in return, or sharing what you know with someone who's trying to learn. This outward focus builds humility and empathy, the ultimate counters to the ego's self-importance. When we perform acts of kindness, it actually triggers the parts of our brain linked to positive emotions and social bonding, creating a deep and lasting sense of calm and fulfillment. You stop seeing others as a benchmark for your own worth and start seeing them as fellow humans to connect with. You realize that lifting others up doesn't diminish you, it expands you. All right, so we've looked at the ego's three favorite sabotage tactics: the lie of "I'll be happy when," which keeps you chasing a future that never comes; the trap of needing to be right, which hurts your relationships and your peace; and the prison of comparison, which keeps you feeling isolated and never good enough. And now we have the antidotes. To counter the endless chase, you'll focus on purpose, not performance. To escape the need to be right, you'll embrace a beginner's mindset. And to break free from the prison of comparison, you will serve others. Understanding this is the first step, but the real change happens with practice. It comes from catching the ego in the act. The ego is a habit, and the only way to change a habit is to become aware of it in the moment and consciously choose a different path. Don't try to fight your ego, that's just the ego fighting itself. Instead, just notice it. When you feel that familiar pang of envy or that stubborn urge to win an argument, just say to yourself, "Ah, there's the ego." That simple act of awareness creates space between you and the reaction. In that space, you find your freedom. In that space, you can choose to practice one of the antidotes we've talked about today. This isn't a one-time fix, it's a daily practice of returning to your authentic self. You are not your ego, you are the awareness behind it. And by patiently choosing purpose, openness, and connection, you take away its power and finally allow your natural state of peace and happiness to shine through. So what's the one ego trap you fall into the most? Is it the need to be right, the comparison game, or the "I'll be happy when" cycle? Share it in the comments below. Just being honest about it is a huge step, and you might be surprised how many of us are fighting the same battle. If this video resonated with you and you want more practical ways to build a life of purpose and peace, please like this video and subscribe to the channel Joyful Inner by Ken. Your support helps spread this message to others who might need it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.